at first I thought Turning Red was a great film because Domee Shi found a great way to make a family-friendly version of Cuties with no softcore child porn. And I still do think that Turning Red, it's a miracle that Domee Shi is able to do that at the same time as when Maimouna Duku was making Cuties with Maimouna Gueye. Maimouna Gueye is another actress who shares the same name. She's the one who played Ami's mom. But I also, but until now, my love for Turning Red. But until now, my love for Turning Red has also, prevented me from questioning something else about the film. Maybe Turning Red on its own isn't as great as I thought it was. I mean, I know Turning Red is a great first. Turning Red is definitely a great first film for Domee Shi. Turning Red is great for a first-time director's film, but it might not be a great film for Pixar when you compare it to when you compare it among some of the other best films that Pixar has made before this point. Films like Ratatouille, Coco Rousseau, or Monsters U, and the second and third Toy Story films. Mom, what are your thoughts on? Do you think Turning Red is great for a Pixar film or not?
It's good enough for a Pixar film. If you compare it to the very best Pixar films, that's a pretty high bar, and most of them weren't made by first-time movie makers, right?
Right.
So I don't know if it's good as Toy Story, but it's certainly good enough to be among Pixar films. Like the Good Dinosaur. Is that a Pixar film?
Yes.
Wall-E. I think it's good enough to be a Pixar film, even if it's not the best one. But isn't it a little unfair to expect a first-time movie to be like the best of the best?
You're right. But
I think it's very good. But I think there's so many good Pixar films. It kind of raises the bar. It raises our expectations on how good a Pixar film should be.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty high bar for it to clear, don't you think?
Yeah.
It's good, very good. I don't think it has to be better than Toy Story to be good enough to be a Pixar film.
I agree.
But it's really good. And it's so nice having, female leads. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Especially female leads who don't have an audition process that breaks the age of consent laws, even if their own country has a lower age of consent. That's why. It's rare for first-time directors to have a film that's one of the best of the best, but it's also very rare for, Cuties is a cautionary tale of how a first-time director's first movie can be the worst of the worst if they're not careful about what they're doing.
I wouldn't say it's the worst of the worst. In both cases, and with Red, Turning Red, and the movie you're talking about, I think, both women were kind of telling the story of their childhood and adolescence. I think and both I think had significant autobiographical elements. Okay, so unfortunately, in one case, telling her story was controversial, but all of the actors, I think none of them felt exploited.
Keyword felt. This actor was the only one who actually met France's age consent law 15.
I would go by what the actors themselves, all the underage actors themselves say, now and into the future. They might feel differently later.
Yeah.
Right now they're feeling fine. Doing dance moves is not the same thing as having somebody be inappropriate to you, to touch you and
right.
stuff. It's totally different.
Yeah.
To them they were just dance moves. Okay? Yeah. But I thought you wanted to talk about Turning Red.
I do.
All right? I thought Turning Red, I think it was able to basically make a story about adolescence and in a way that didn't touch on controversy too much, right?
Right.
And it was successful in what it did, and also in, I think, showing, as both movies did, the sort of tension between
between the girl and her mother, between the girl and her mother,
between the culture of the mother and the new, I guess, culture the girls being at least partially assimilated into.
Yeah.
The tension between those two cultures, the tension between tradition and going your own way. I think it navigated all those issues pretty well.
Yeah. I think you might like to check out Zaid Majensa's video about why defending cuties ain't cute when he knows that there's only one type of horrible niche audience it could cater to, whom nobody else wants to make movies for. But
I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that video, but it's by a guy, huh?
Well, yeah, but he also knows that. Yeah, but he knows that whether no matter what gender or race you are,
right.
you should know you should know better to make a film. Even if it's your first time film, you can make it better. You can criticize the issue. The topic of exploiting children without making a film that actually does that.
Yeah, but I thought we were going to talk about Turning
Red. Oh yes. Yeah. Well, okay. So
Turning
Red is a great movie.
Are you making this video under false pretenses?
No, but I'm worried about. But I'm really worried. But Turning Red is definitely a good film to watch. But I'm still a bit worried about Turning Red because did Meilin actually learn anything, or was the story framed incorrectly to make May the protagonist when it's really about her mother and grandmother learning that they should each let their respective daughters be their own person and they don't need to demand perfection for their children and they don't need to demand perfection from their children to May and Ming don't have to be perfect daughters to be good, decent daughters.
Well, I guess it was about all three generations, right?
Right.
The protagonist was the younger daughter, but yeah, the mother and grandmother also became characters throughout the course of the movie. But I would say that it's a lesson for all three generations then. But it started because the young daughter didn't, first she didn't know about this past history, all of it. And then she decided she didn't want to go the same way as her mother and grandmother, right?
Right.
So, it's okay for a show to have more than one character that's important to the story.
That's right.
Okay? Isn't it an intergenerational story? Great. We should have more of those,
Of course.
In many cultures, the older generations are more important than, the way the current nuclear family, white American way has it. It's most of humanity's existence has been the other way. It's been multi-generational.
So what do you think? So what lesson do you think May actually learned when the older generations of her family were also learning to let her be who she wants to be, and that she doesn't have to be their perfect daughter to be a good daughter to them?
Well, she learned how she wasn't the first one to have a red panda.
Right.
She learned how the previous generations dealt with it. She learned how they wanted to help her deal with it, and then she decided what she wanted to do.
Right.
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 Oh yeah, when I say most of humanity, that includes a lot of current humanity, where multi-generations are important.
Right.
The history is still being made. History is still
Right.
current.
Well, and do you think May's dad and her friends Miriam, Pri, and Abby do you think they were also very do you think they were also very interested? Do you think they were also fleshed out characters that were interesting to watch, as opposed to Ami's dad and the other cuties being non-existent characters? Technically, of course, Ami's friends were present, but they didn't have a personality except for Angelica. But what do you think of May's dad and her three friends?
Yeah, they think they showed us enough of them to know what kind of people they are. Yeah, what kind of characters they are. Yeah, we got to see what the dad was actually like. Yeah.
Yeah, I like what he told May about
no personality. Yeah.
About the grandma not wanting the mom to marry him.
Yeah, I think it really helped for the mom to be reminded that she was the same way when she was a kid, of not wanting to do everything her parents told her.
Yeah, I liked how supportive and kind Jin was to May, and when he told May that it's okay to embrace her wild side, embrace the panda.
Yeah, fortunately her panda wasn't quite as enormous as her mom's.
Yeah.
That would have been a more difficult issue. I think she picked the right battle to fight, that of marrying the man she wanted to marry.
Me too. I agree. Yeah, I also like how one of one of Ming and Jin's early scenes foreshadowed that when Dad was preparing dinner and May and her mom were watching I think they were watching a Chinese soap opera when Ming told May about and another character that someone in the soap opera should have married.
Yeah, like the in the soap opera. Yeah, that was a good touch. Good touch. Good foreshadowing. Yeah.
Now, how would you feel about Turning Red? How would you feel if Turning Red had a prequel akin to Monsters U that focused more on the first of May's friends and what Miriam, Pri, and Abby are like in an origin story about them meeting May in the summer camp for music skills before they entered the sixth grade together? Do you think Turning Red could use a prequel like that?
Yeah, sure. That could be very good and interesting, as long as it's well written. Like Monsters U, we get to see their origin story when they first met and became friends, and yeah, that'd be good. Sure, as long as it's good writing.
Exactly. If Turning Red's characters are strong enough to carry another film that explores the same themes of being true to yourself and while also being true to your family's culture, then I know a Turning Red prequel about May meeting her friends before she gets a red panda could work as a full-length prequel film.
Mm-hmm. And if you combine it with a trip back to China, you'd also find about the mother's childhood too.
Oh yeah, that was actually Finn. I think that was part of Finn the Pony's idea for a Turning Red sequel.
It's possible to do both, as long as you don't make one have short shrift from the. You could do both, but you got to do it right. So it doesn't seem like two stories stitched together, Frankenstein style.
I mean, one could be I know that. I just mean one could be a prequel, one could be a sequel.
You could do. Oh yeah, you could do both. Sure.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Right.
If Ava Morris is watching this video, I'm sure she could go for a Turning Red prequel about. I'm sure she could go for a Turning Red prequel about May meeting her friends at music camp and how they started out as enemies or as strangers, but then they became friends as they entered the sixth grade together and helped each other survive Y2K in the fall and winter of 1999.
Yeah, they might decide on being competitors, for some kind of prize at the camp or something.
Oh yeah, of course.
And you're coming from different backgrounds, and being real strangers, but once you get to know each other, becoming friends.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, I mean, the original film takes place with them in the 8th grade in the spring of 2002, so that's why I thought Turning Red, the prequel could go back to like the summer and the fall of 1999 when they're in 6th grade.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, they have plenty of their lives left to do a sequel too.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, and go traveling.
Yeah, I really think, I'm sure. Yeah, Ava Morris would love. Yeah, I know Ava Morris. And I know Ava Morris would love to act in this. If Pixar agreed with this prequel, I'm sure Ava Morris would love to act in it because it means. I know Ava Morris would like this because she could do more with Miriam than she did. She had more material to do with Miriam than she had in the original Turning Red film. And Hyen Park would also like this because she was a storyboard artist in Bao and she played Abby in Turning Red. So I know Hyen Park would definitely like to write this prequel with Domee Shi.
Oh yeah, a sequel could really expand the parts of that group of friends. Yeah.
And that's why I want Turning Red to have a prequel of May meeting her friends before she gets her panda. Then we could also know why Ming dislikes Miriam more than Priya and Abby.
Oh yeah.
In the first Turning Red. Yes.
So much to find out there. Yeah.
Right. Sorry, someone opened that door next to us. Ava Morris, and speaking of Ava Morris, she actually, she had 6 months ago, she, like on September 7th, if I remember correctly, 6 months ago today, today is March 7th, she had a vlog on September 7th about, she actually had a vlog on September 7th about a new part she was recording at the Chicago recording company. I think she's she's playing a new character in an undisclosed production titled. She's playing in an undisclosed future production that we might hear about next year or later this year. She's playing. I think she has a new part to play. She's voicing an undisclosed animated character named Nina. Are you looking forward to it, Mom?
Sure, direct people to that video. They can watch it for themselves.
Okay.
So just look her up, look her videos, look at Baby Morse, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I really hope that Rosalie Chang and Ava Morse, who were both born in the fall of 2005, know how lucky they are to have innocent, harmless auditions for Turning Red, where they don't have to do any sexual dances for their Turning Red characters.
I'm sure they appreciate it.
Meilin and Miriam.
Yeah. Plus, you can even do auditions by videotape now, and just voice, or even just strictly sound recording, just a voice audition, right?
Yeah. I think Malari Martinez should consider herself lucky that her audition for Cuties was too innocent for her to be accepted into it.
Yeah, right. Maybe I thought we were supposed to talk about Turning Red here.
Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to seeing what's next for Rosalie Chang and Ava Morse, and especially with that new Nina part Ava has.
I'm looking forward to it too.
Would you also like to see Finn the Pony's idea for Turning Red sequel, where May's family friends travel to China and learn more about
I'm interested in either sequel or prequel. Yeah, I'm interested in both the prequel and the sequel. Yeah. Yes.
And I know Pixar can
You mean
do
the
it
sequel
because
where they go to China and find out more about the family history? Yes.
Yeah, I know Pixar and Disney Plus can make a prequel and sequel to Turning Red like this because they've already done this before with Monsters Inc. They had a prequel film titled Monsters U, and then they had a Disney Plus sequel series titled Monsters at Work.
Yeah.
When Monsters Inc. was a scare floor, its rhyming slogan was, "We scare because we care." And then in Monsters at Work, after Mike Wazowski and James P. Sullivan converted the scare floor into a laugh floor, their new rhyming slogan is, "It's laughter we're after."
Yep. Yeah. See, they can build out this world too, the Turning Red world, for sure.
Thank you for watching. If you like this video, be sure to click on the thumbs up button and subscribe for more Adamphibia content.
Like and subscribe.